Okay, I'm here with Ash, who is a speaker also on WebExpo. Ash, can you tell us a little bit about your story, how you became a speaker and write a book?
Sure. Yeah, so I tell a lot of people that first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur. So I've been a practicing entrepreneur for many years, and I ran into all the struggles that entrepreneurs do, which is most products fail. And so I had been in search for better ways for building good products and better products, more successful products. And I've been trying a number of different methodologies along the way, and ran into some early works on lean startup, customer development, started a blog around that. That blog turned into a book. The book turned into more speaking, more workshops. So sometimes people see me as a speaker or a consultant, but I'm more an entrepreneur who is sharing some of my learnings with other people.
What was your first entrepreneurship project? Or your first company?
Sure, yeah, so I moved to the United States as a student, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but for visa reasons I could not start my own company. So the very first entrepreneurial experience, or I would say working at a startup, was for another startup. So that was the next best thing. If you can't run your own company, go work for someone else, but in a startup environment. And so that was something I recommend a lot of people do, is that you learn a lot on sometimes through other people being the founder. As a founder, you have to make so many decisions that it's good to nurture that through experience from others. So that was good. So I spent a few years doing that. That startup did pretty well. They started rocky like everyone else, but they eventually got acquired. And at that point, I decided I'd reached the point where I could start my own business, and I went off on my own.
And in which field was your?
Sure. So it was around. So I describe the journey of entrepreneurs being very interesting. Many entrepreneurs start just with this need to create something interesting. So for me, it was in 2002, and I was building a social network like Facebook, like Friendster, before they were even a term. So much like, so at that time, we had just had 9/11. We had we had a big recession in the US, so all my friends had just dispersed. And so I was looking for using technology to help connect with other people. And interestingly enough, there's something you learn afterwards, is that these discoveries are not usually in isolation. They are done when the time is right for an idea. A lot of people come onto the same idea. And so I started working on that. So did many other people. And that eventually became social networks. Many of them went down the tubes. We had a different approach, but eventually we morphed our technology into more of a business use of social networking, collaboration, and so that's what that company was about.
And you do a lot of activities like entrepreneurship, writing books, speaking. How you balance those activities?
That was a very good question. So 2 years ago, so I was running this other business, and it was file sharing, media sharing type of products, and I began this blog really as a way to publicly hold myself accountable. So I was sharing my learning with my readers, and their encouragement kept me going. But I did find myself in that point where I was spending more and more time, sometimes 8 hours, writing a single blog post, which you question, why are you doing it? But I did find that I was enjoying that more, and I began to find a new customer, a new audience for the learning itself. And so it was a hard decision to make. And so about a year and a half ago, or maybe it's more like two and a half years ago, I decided to sell the other business because it was very hard to do two things, and really focus all my attention in what I'm doing now, which is really working with entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs have become really my audience and my primary focus.
What's the topic of your presentation here on the WebExpo?
Sure. So today I'm going to talk about 10 steps to product market fit. And I'm going to help define it. So product market fit is a term that a lot of people think they understand, but it's an interesting term, because if you have to ask the question, have I achieved product market fit? You probably haven't, because when you achieve it, that's when your product just takes off. So what I'm really going to be focusing on is not really what is product market fit, how do you know you have it, but how do you take the steps to achieve it? Like, what are the kinds of thought process that go in towards doing that?
Can you maybe mention some of the steps for someone who can attend your presentation?
Sure. So I would say that the first step is really realizing that it is a process. So a lot of people look at entrepreneurship like the lottery. You build a great product, and maybe you'll succeed, maybe you don't. And there's this term that comes from the lean startup where we talk about innovation accounting. And so innovation accounting is no different, and and not any more interesting than financial accounting. So much like a good financial accountant, and investors can look at balance sheets and income statements and assess the health of a company, there is a similar parallel that is being developed now called innovation accounting, where we can assess the health of a startup, the health of an idea. And so those are the things that I'm going to talk about. So it's going to be pretty systematic sets of tools and frameworks that help you build that up. But that's in a nutshell what we're going to be talking about.
Great. Instead of presenting here on WebExpo, what do you do normally? Like if it would be a normal Saturday, what do you do?
So I have 2 young kids, and so I like to spend a lot of time. So they are my other startups, and they grow. I mean, they change so quickly at that age, and so for me that's another trade-off that I make. So unlike a lot of people who do who become published authors and do the speaking circuit, I have very strict rules. I typically don't. I typically don't travel more than 25% in a month, and I don't work on weekends and don't travel on weekends. This is an exception. When I come to Europe, there are usually exceptions.
We are lucky.
But yeah, these are longer trips, so I have to make a little bit of an exception. I turn it into a little vacation, but normally if I were to do trips, they would be more shorter trips. And then on the weekends, I do spend a lot of time with the family and the kids. And then other hobbies that I enjoy is food, so both cooking as well as eating. So as well as going to restaurants, eating. So you'll find me doing that, or movies, or just relaxing.
Did you visit some restaurant here in Prague?
I tried some of the local foods. Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, definitely. Very. I have to say, you have to watch. It's the very big, the bigger portions, and definitely not. At least what I had was not the healthiest. So. Gotta be careful.
Great. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for the interview.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.